Welcome to the Impact of Educational Leadership podcast with ID3 for Isaiah Jerome III. This show was designed to provide an exclusive forum on educational achievement gaps related to learner success while discovering relationships and family issues in a diverse setting.
All right, this is another episode of the Impact of Educational Leadership, episode 37. I'm your host, ID3 for Isaiah Jerome III. Tonight's panelists are the Honorable Trustee Mackey and the Honorable Delna Bryan. First, let me tell you about Ms. Delna Bryan. Educational advocate Delna Bryan, now in her 30th year in teaching and educational consulting, as an executive member of the National Education Association for Educators and Paraprofessionals in the United States, and chair for the Political Action Committee, PAC for short, Teacher Affairs for NEA Dallas, Texas. She serves on two committees, the Eulalie Carter International Scholarship Committee for Delta Kappa Gamma, and on oversight for the Human Resources Committee. Bachelor's degree from Anderson, Indiana. Master's from University of Southern Mississippi, Hattiesburg. Another master's from University of Granada, Spain. She became the who's who among American teachers. Next, we have the Honorable Mackey, a Dallas ISD School Board trustee serving District 7. District 7 is the largest Dallas ISD district. This district is serving over 23,000 amazing students. Before being elected to the school board in May, Ben served as the principal at Dallas ISD School for the Talented and Gifted, TAG for short. Has been named the #1 high school in the nation 4 times by the U.S. News and World Report. Ben earned his master's degree in school leadership from Harvard University and his bachelor's degree in finance and history from the University of Florida. Prior to taking over as principal of TAG, Ben entered education through Teach for America and taught math at West Boulevard High School in Rosedale, Mississippi. As the math department chair, Ben founded the first AP Calculus program in district history and was named Teacher of the Year by both the County Chamber of Commerce and the high school. He has continued to stay involved in Rosedale, serving as the founding board president for the Rosedale Freedom Project, and was recognized as a master principal by Dallas ISD. Ben was named one of Dallas Business Journal's Under 40 listing as Rising Stars in Dallas, and he was a part of the Mayor's Star Council in 2018. Currently, Ben works as the Chief Research and Evaluations and Design in DeSoto ISD, where he manages data, innovation, technology, special programs, and organizational redesigns. Ladies and gentlemen, please say hello to the people.
Hello, glad to be here.
Hello, welcome, thank you, great to be here.
So great having you here. Today's topic is nationwide school closures are reducing the spread of COVID-19 to students, teachers, and staff. Mostly every region of the world, including the United States, are going through an escalating outbreak of respiratory illness caused by the novel new coronavirus, COVID-19 for short. On March 11th, the World Health Organization characterized COVID-19 as a pandemic. This global pandemic has put great emphasis on the economic and social gaps existing in our communities and the lack of resources and solutions to address the problem. To slow the spread of this virus, governmental agencies ordered most public and private K-12 schools to close through April 24th and beyond. Today we're going to be discussing some ways and efforts and plans of different districts, different school districts in America. With that being said, my first question goes to the Honorable Trustee Mackey. Sir, my question is, what efforts are being coordinated to provide information from the state to districts to help districts solve problems and provide guidance that will aid in districts' decision-making.
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, you can feel free to just call me Ben, but I appreciate it. For kind of how this is all unfolded, just a brief overview. I mean, we went from a time in early March when, states in Texas and Dallas ISD, we were monitoring the situation as coronavirus started to first make it here in America. But then within a week and a half, it went from the first couple of cases to, we're going to be closing school indefinitely. And schools had to react across the nation to very quickly totally shift gears and go from regular traditional education for the most part to fully online. And just the amount of lift that teachers, principals, assistant principals, counselors, all of our staff had to do to kind of move into that has just been amazing. So there have been a lot of questions that have come out and a lot of how do we navigate this situation? So to answer your question, the state of Texas and TEA, and actually there was a note yesterday where the governor officially closed schools for the remainder of the school year. So we won't be back in school this year as per the governor's orders. But they have actually been really strong in being able to provide certain guidance around what to do. So there are updates daily. There's a full COVID-19 resource page on the state TEA website that kind of says, hey, here's what you need to do about attendance, and there's an FAQ there. Here are some things to do about technology distribution. Here's what instruction could look like. Here are a bunch of plans and examples of what that could look like. And there's also the commissioner hosts a superintendent call with superintendents across the state every day to get feedback or questions that have arisen and work through those. So there's been some pretty strong guidance there. At the end of the day, there's so much stuff that isn't going to come from state guidance anyway. It's going to be what our educators figure out how to do and how we make this lift happen. And we've been able to do that as a whole with our entire community, our fabulous teachers, staff, community members, and all of that. And then additionally, I think this has really exposed a lot of disparities that we knew existed. So we take the digital divide, for example. Dallas has done a really good job in getting out over 90,000 devices for students that might not have had access to a device and over 9,000 hotspots for internet. But I think this really exposed that, not all families have access to the same resources to be able to access this. And again, you think about families where students, now the students are home from school, but the parents are still working. You now have a situation where kids are going to be taking care of one another and still trying to manage schoolwork. So we've had to get really creative and think about what that could look like. And there's been a lot of grants actually from the state. There's an instructional continuity grant and some other federal grants that are coming down that districts can apply for. That are essentially, as long as you apply, you have a pretty good shot at getting it. And that money will be able to go to helping close these gaps. So those are some of the things that the state and the federal government have been giving in terms of guidance and in money. I think overall, though, this whole crisis, as you kind of alluded to earlier, this has totally forced everyone to rethink what education can and should be. And so there's a lot of that districts, teachers, staff are diving into and trying to figure out that there's not any sort of one piece of guidance that's going to tell us the answer. So it's been quite the situation to navigate.
Well, I'm going to call you the Honorable Ben Mackey. But sir, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that response. You gave us some insight. I did not know that really only 90,000 students, though that's a large number, are being served, and I didn't know that 9,000 hotspots has been distributed. That's an awesome feat, and that lets me know that Dallas ISD is spearheading, or they are trailblazing, they are leading the way in educational excellence to close those gaps. And I kind of heard about some different grants that you were talking about that's going to be helping to assist in closing these gaps as well, and maybe even some programs personal growth programs, positive youth development programs that are probably going to be implemented as well to help close those gaps. I know we have different students on different levels of learning, whether it be dyslexia, you name it, special needs. But these disparities are going to be taken care of, is what I'm hearing from Dallas ISD through whatever means necessary. So for the listening audience, because we do need to know, some people don't know that school won't start back this year. So this is information, vital information that needs to go out and go forth. Thank you very much for that response, sir. My next question goes to the Honorable Ms. Delna Bryan. Ms. Bryan, my question to you is, how do educators effectively do their jobs without child care? And a growing sense of dread about how to stay safe and sane amid the relentless spread of the coronavirus.
We talk about effectively doing your job without child care. You're a teacher, you have a job to do. Please know that actions speak louder than words. So therefore, you should remain calm, cool, and collective. The Honorable Ben Mackey used the word creative. You are going to have to be super creative if you are at home doing online teaching and you have a child there with you. First of all, you're going to have to be organized. You're going to have to be disciplined. You're going to have a schedule. I would encourage you, your workspace, wherever you have a desk, have your child nearby in his or her workspace. He or she will have a desk nearby. And the same way you are working on your computer, they will have a device looking like a computer to work from. This is going to create, oh, I am part of this routine. You get up, you have breakfast at the same time every day, you have a break, you go to class, there's a pattern. You are following a curriculum. Show the child that. It's all about fun. It cannot be boring. You're having fun. Show the child how to have fun while still at school. Write down what you did all day. It depends on the age level of your child. You might have to come back and have your summary that same day or half a day into the day. You need to know, what have we been doing thus far? If it's an older high schooler that is there, then you might go for 2 days or maybe a week. Go back to some of the basics that you did as a child when you were home with your mother. What did you do? You learned how to cook. Include a cooking class. You learned how to bake. Include a baking class. Dr. Zeus told us that when something bad happens to you, you have 3 choices. You can either let it define you, you can let it destroy you, or you can let it strengthen you. I would encourage all of those without child care not to fear this that is going on. It's a new roadmap that we have. Walk without fear during the time that we have and show the child that it can be done without fear. Thank you.
No, thank you. I like the way you talked about effectiveness. And to me, it tied into long-range planning. Because to do schedules, you both know there has to be a plan. And I like the way that you brought all this together and said, if you do it this way, then you will have better relationships, better time management, better or closer family interaction, right? And also different curriculums for learning how to do things that, we used to really kind of do back in the day. I think they call it like home ec. You talked about cooking. And I like how that combined with engagement for full online support, because if you're a teacher and you're a single mother and you have children that are also in school, then they can be right there with the mom or the dad, and they can both be working at the same time. And so if there's any questions that need to be asked, they can be right there to answer them right away if they cannot get in contact with their teacher. So I like the way you synthesize your response with Trustee Ben Mackey. With that being said, Trustee Ben Mackey, a question for you, sir. What ways are your districts or is your district supporting the capacity to create and deliver engaging hands-on learning opportunities for all young people, as well as help their communities thrive even in the most difficult times?
Yeah, I just want to echo the sentiments that Ms. Bryan raised here about, the importance of creating routine and structure and finding ways that make sense for you. The reality is this crisis is a tragedy. And first, before we even get to the learning aspect, which is incredibly important, is the human element and making sure that the humans in our system, staff, students, families, our community, is supported first and feel safe and secure knowing that this is a network of support, and then the learning can come, just like it is in any classroom. You see any great teacher, it's not only about just how they execute a lesson, it's the relationships they build with students and families. And I think that carries on here as well. So number one, the people who are going to drive this and who know their students and their families the best are the teachers, are the principals, are the counselors, are the people on that campus. And so number one, it comes from Dallas ISD's front in supporting those people to ensure that they can support their students and their families. So I think that looks like, I'm really proud of Dallas ISD and a lot of, essentially most of the surrounding districts that I know of. Everyone has continued to ensure that all employees continue to receive their full paycheck, regardless if we're operating bus routes or anything that's happening at school. So that is an example of taking care of our employees so that they can take care of others, and that's what they do every single day. So the second piece is, there's not going to be a one-size-fits-all here. So if we're talking about delivering engaging hands-on learning opportunities for all young people, that is what teachers do all the time through our system through normal channels. And so it's a matter of trying to support them in this new normal, where they're trying to reach out, call families, check in with students, create these videos, or doing online lessons or Zoom calls. I don't know, you look at some of these people, I bet Zoom calls filled with a bunch of second graders are probably some of the most amazing sights to watch, as all these kids are excited to see each other through the computer. So I think knowing, number one, that there's not going to be a one-size-fits-all, and making sure that we let our teachers know that as they continue to explore things that work. I have seen so many videos online or different types of lessons, etc. And it's been really exciting to see that. So I think number two on that, after supporting the humans, is number two, to allow those teachers and other staff to know that they have that creativity to be able to draw these things out. And then finally, number 3 is how do we continue to give them development and help them to troubleshoot things as they arise. So inevitably in this process, people will notice something's not working, or there's a struggle, or we haven't been able to access a computer or a student or this or that. It's allowing those teachers to be able to voice that in a setting where they can get support from their principals, from the curriculum staff, from other educators across the system, and to kind of create that. This is an uncharted territory for every school system that's going through it. If you told a school system, hey, next year you're going to go fully online, every school district would say, whoa, we need some time to plan that. And in this case, we got a week, and then we were online, and that week was spring break. And so it has just been, an incredible lift to move there. But our educators across the world have been doing phenomenal work. But to summarize this, what they need, in my opinion, to be able to continue to troubleshoot and get through this are, number 1, support on the human side, to know that they are humans and they are, this is a new world for everyone and they're supported in this process. Number 2, flexibility and creativity. And number 3, feedback and troubleshooting anything that's still going wrong or that they need help with.
Wow. And the response time for Dallas ISD during spring break was just mind-boggling. Dallas ISD has a powerhouse team. And sir, you're with that team, you're on that team, and they need people like you because you're the chief researcher in DeSoto ISD, also in technology and special programs and organizational redesign. So that's right up your alley when we start talking about support. When we start talking about support systems, when we start talking about creativity, when we start talking about what I like to classify as sustainability, how do you support, how do you be creative, but then how do you maintain that momentum? How do you maintain that momentum and allow it to grow, right, and branch off to other districts? And so Dallas ISD is a trailblazer. They are spearheading a blueprint, a design model because of the powerhouse team that we have in Dallas ISD. So we are so fortunate to be working with this cadre. So I really like your response. I really like the way you took a very complex and difficult question and you broke it down into bite-sized pieces that you can chew on. So I applaud you for that, sir. My next question goes to the Honorable Ms. Delna Bryan. So my question to you, Ms. Bryan, is this. How do you plan for the future with no idea of what it holds? I know you kind of briefly alluded to that, but could you go more in detail? Thank you.
We all know that these are uncharted waters. Some feel that they're swimming upstream, others feel that they're swimming downstream. They have no idea. They didn't have any warning at all. But I would encourage everyone again to listen to what is being said to you. This is the time to put all your network of friends together. I have friends all over the world experiencing the same thing. We talk. We are in Zoom chats. We are on WhatsApp chats. Share ideas. Network with new friends that want to join your groups. You belong to different organizations. Different organizations have different ideas. They're all doing diverse things. They're all looking to the future, and this future, they don't have a crystal ball for it. They don't know exactly where they're going. They have no idea, but they know that they are teachers who have a passion for teaching. And having that passion for teaching, they are geared up, they are ready to go back with full force to meet their students from their online classes, again, face-to-face, if that happens. You have a lot of research to do. Your browser is your right arm. Start looking into things, innovative things that can transform your class when you get back, or if we are continuing with classes online. This is not going to be the same old, same old. You're going back to something that is totally different. You might just be that teacher that is going to build that legacy, that is going to build what we need for the future. We need to let the Lord guide us. And He that has the strength, the faith, the hope, we will be successful. Do not fear the future. It's open. We just talked about walking in vineyards where there are fruits for everyone. Yes? There are many fruits in that vineyard. Whether it's an apple, a pear, a pineapple, you have different fruits to be able to give to every student and the varied students that you are going to have coming back for the future. I'd like to reiterate, do not fear what the future holds. This is a learning curve, a big, long learning curve. Learn from it. Modify, adapt, accommodate what you need to do, and come back with full force. Thank you.
No, thank you. I love the passion. When you speak, I hear legacy, the type of legacy that transforms thoughts, mindsets, to make people or to motivate people to be diverse, to network, to learn, and to forecast for the future. I thank you so much. I thank you so much for being on the panel today. With that being said, my last question goes to the Honorable Trustee Ben Mackey. Sir, tell us a success story from your district. I know there's a lot, but just give us one.
Absolutely. So I think this can be summed up in one number to me about a success story, and it's not just one story or one anecdote. It's a story about the whole system, and that number is 98.8. 98.8% of Dallas ISD students, that's over 153,000 students, all in various situations, backgrounds, with differing levels of resources. 98.8% of those students have been in contact and actively part of all of this online learning since we began this just a month ago. And that number is probably even outdated now because I got that earlier last week. That is an incredible feat. And that just shows you what our educators are doing to make sure they reach every student, and not just some students, not just the ones who have access and can get on and are doing it as self-starters. Every student, 98.8%, have been engaged in some form or fashion during the course of this online learning, even with everything else going on. And I think that tells a story of not only the students and our families in our district, and it just continues to echo home that every kid everywhere, I truly believe, wants to learn, has the ability to learn, is passionate about it. We just got to give them something to be passionate about, and that starts with building relationships. And it tells the story of our teachers, counselors, principals, all of our staff reaching out and meeting kids where they are and trying to make sure that those students are supported and able to learn in this time. So that 98.8%, my guess is that it'll be 100% by this time as this is all said and done. And I think that is the anecdote that tells the story of a success in Dallas ISD.
We went to Google Classrooms, we made adjustments, we made what we needed to do. I don't think there's any person that can say we at Dallas ISD did not step up to the plate and knock a home run. It should be commended. COVID did not knock us out. We are knocking COVID out.
To echo the resilience that Delna is referring to and just how all of our educators have come together around this, I think my takeaway actually is going to look towards the future, in that this crisis has forced us to think differently and do differently in a way that we might never have thought about before. And my takeaway is I think there are so many exciting things that we're going to learn from this when it's all said and done, that we can come back as an entire educational system and do differently and do better and find better ways to build connections and teach and learn. And this is something educators are always doing. Educators are always seeking to get better and look for new ways to improve. Here's a catalyst to accelerate that by years at a time in one fell swoop. And I think that is, on every tragedy there is a silver lining, and I hope that that is a silver lining when we talk about education going forward, and how many of these unique new things that we're learning that we're going to be able to implement going forward when times return to normal as well. So that's my takeaway.
Wonderful, wonderful. Today's discussion was on nationwide school closures are reducing the spread of COVID-19 to students, teachers, and staff. I want to thank the panelists today, Honorable Trustee Ben Mackey and Delna Bryan. This has been another episode of The Impact of Education Leadership.
Welcome to the Impact of Educational Leadership podcast with ID3 for Isaiah Drone III. This show was designed to provide an exclusive forum on educational achievement gaps related to learner success while discovering relationships and family issues in a diverse setting.